The old expression, information isn't knowledge and knowledge isn't wisdom, springs to mind when thinking about investing. Too often people assume that that vast amount of information will somehow give them an advantage. My perception has always been, as I mentioned earlier, that knowledge is required to assimilate and use information productively. Without the knowledge, information is largely useless chatter. With that in mind, I would like to finish with some observations on attitudes that have prevailed, certainly during my career. In all the earlier sessions, I separated income and capital to give you what I hope is an indelible impression of the two-dimensional nature of assets, income and capital. In this chart, I have simply reinvested the interest from term deposits, the income from listed property trusts and dividends from industrial shares. The first observation I would make is how comprehensively people are upset by the market corrections. In over 40 years in this industry, and having worked for fund managers here and abroad, I am acutely aware of this. Whenever a major setback occurs, the customer service lines at the fund managers' call centres start lighting up like Christmas trees, as more and more people ring to complain that we had lost their money. Why did they never ring when we were making it for them? I know why. That was down to them, and they were feeling good. The disasters were always going to be ours. The other recurrent event was more frequent and would often occur at presentations I was giving. For example, when I present now, at question time, I am often confronted with a question along the following lines. Look, it's all well and good what you've said about shares, but with the global financial crisis and a possible double dip, the Gulf War, and with interest rates on the rise, I feel very nervous about investing at present. The last 3 years has seen this message delivered to me on many occasions. Let's indulge in an exercise in mental gymnastics. I want you to come back in time with me, and you must forget all that you know between now and the date I take you back to. Here we are in December 2002. The dot-com bust is in full swing, and markets around the world are headed south. Central banks around the world are slashing interest rates to try and protect us from our earlier stupidity. The question pops up. Excuse me, it's all well and good, your comments about shares, but with the share market falling out of bed, I feel very nervous about investing at present, especially with all the other problems we're facing. Here we are now in December 2001. The dot-com boom is in full swing and markets are headed for the stars. Up goes a hand. Excuse me, your comments about shares are all well and good, but with the share market at an all-time high, I feel nervous investing when it's so high, especially with the global problems we're facing. Around December 2000, the comments were the same. A nervousness about the fact that the market was at an all-time high and a nagging concern about global problems. Here we are again, December 1999. Excuse me, it's all well and good what you've said about shares, but with the market at an all-time high, I feel nervous about investing when it's so high, especially with all the problems at present. Perception is reality. All I've ever had is people telling me they are nervous because it is rising. They are frightened because it's falling, because it is rising, falling, rising. For 40 years, this is all I have ever had jammed in my face. The reason these issues are raised again and again is quite simple. Everybody I know reads this chart from the right to the left. There is one fundamental difference between me and the rest of the world. I read this chart from the left to the right, and I will defy anyone to tell me that what I'm about to point out is wrong. If I start in 1980, the share market at that time was an all-time low. In 1981, it was also at a low, and again every year until 1987, when it was even lower, and so on, all the way up to December 2009, at which point it remained at an all-time low compared to the future. My question is, which way are most people investing, backwards or forwards? I perceive that most people spend much of their lives looking backwards with regret, incapable of creating their financial futures. I believe we owe it to our children to encourage them to face their futures, not our pasts.